The Northeast knows how to do delis. Rest of the country still buying pre-packed slice stuff. Dude, anytime I've moved around for work, there are no real delis. Except for there's a deli section, maybe. A lot of the time there isn't even, like, in the back of the supermarket. And even then, you don't go. And let me show you. Here we go. So in the Northeast, if you don't go to a small deli, all of the supermarkets, like all of them, have a huge deli section in the back, like this. And there are often smaller ones outside of the Northeast, but it's like this, okay? So there's a bunch of people lined up. There's a deli. There are dudes with deli slicers there. And there are all these meats and cheeses and things in like full form in the front glass case there. And you're like, yeah, let me get a quarter pound of that, half pound of that, and this. And, you know, they have these around, but in the Northeast, these are much larger. And everyone goes here and they don't buy the prepackaged stuff. So the idea, when you go around and you see a prepackaged sliced deli meat thing, those, like, they just don't have those in the Northeast because everyone defaults to go to here. But what I've noticed is they'll still have these kinds of counters in other areas. But number one, there are no private places that do this. This is only in the supermarket. And then people still default to going for those, like, pre-packaged cases of salami and shit. And they don't actually go to the deli counter as much. So there's, like, one guy manning it. Whereas in, like, the East Coast and the Northeast, you've got, like, 4 guys manning this, and they're still not moving fast enough. You know what I mean? So they kind of, they still sort of exist outside of that. But then in the Northeast, it's so common that you have a lot of freestanding delis, not just like the supermarket ones like that, right? Because the ones in the supermarkets are so packed and everything. There's just so many standalone delis. But I don't know, like, it's just, I guess culturally it's just different. And you can still get that deli experience outside the Northeast if you want to go to a counter and be like, slice me this amount of this. You can still do that, but it's just culturally, like, not, like, people don't do that as much is what I've noticed. I guess they just don't eat that sort of thing in the same volume. Yeah, and right, if you go to a store that's like a specialty food store for certain culture, you'll find more of those, is what I've found. But like standard American supermarket outside of the Northeast, that deli counter is not gonna have a line. But then when you're in the Northeast, that line is super long, and you take a number, tell them what you want, and then go shopping, and then come back, you know? Walk around. Sometimes you go to the deli, the freestanding ones, or the ones that are in bodegas. You have them get your deli meats for you, whatever. You order a bacon, egg, and cheese. You eat the whole thing while standing in line because they're still working on it, you know? So, yeah, I'm just, like, they still exist, but that sort of thing is just so much more prevalent and used in the Northeast, I guess. All right, butchers, like real butchers, too. Oh, my God. A lot of the food that I've always known how to cook is stuff that I didn't realize these cuts of meat were not completely readily, easily available in other areas without going to a butcher, okay? In the Northeast, you find lamb everywhere. You find all these different cuts. You find bones for soup just sitting there, packaged. If you want bones for soup and you're in, like, the Midwest, you have to go to a butcher and be like, do you have this, or can I order this and get it tomorrow? And then you do it tomorrow. It's like this whole process. But then Northeast, they're like, we know you guys want those soup bones, or like whatever the fuck.